Well, we're excited, obviously, opening up with the men for the first time. We got a lot of holes we have to fill from last year, and we're just going to kind of use it to see where we are at this point. I think we're a strong team. We're pretty young. Obviously, no experience at all running indoors. With the women, I mean, we got a lot back, and I think we're going to be okay. I think we just need to use these early meets as experience and kind of a litmus test to see where we are. The approaches are no different for us. Our focus is still being good in May. The differences are it's weighted a little more heavily for the distance events, and obviously the track sizes make a big difference in learning how to run on the track, a smaller track and everything, but the approach is the same. We're really just doing this as kind of an opener because we don't want conference to be the first time that they open up with pentathlon or heptathlon. We want to be able to go into conference with one under their belt and have that experience of doing one. Well, they're obviously excited, but they don't know what to expect. The women's have never opened up this early. We usually don't open up till the end of January, and it's a brand new ball game for the men, so they really don't know what to expect, but they're excited to compete.
Well, our goal is definitely win every game, and so for us to be able to go and again, like Coach Baker was saying, it's hard to win on the road, and so to be able to go on the road and win back-to-back close games like that, those are some positives for our team. There's obviously some negatives that come out of it. I don't like to be in those situations. I wish we'd play better basketball in the first, 36, 37 minutes of the game to not be in those situations, and that's what we're going to work on to fix. But, I do think, with the way that our team has played up to this point, we had a couple of big wins early, and then to be able to be put in those situations on the road and have to execute on both ends of the floor is a good thing for this basketball team to experience, and before we start Lone Star Conference play. Yeah, I think Prince, and really you can even go back to last year, when we beat Tarleton here in double overtime, Prince hit a big shot. It was an unreal shot last year, and for him to kind of be able to, and it's good for us as a team to be able to look and know that he's willing to take those big shots. I think the ball just kind of he made a defensive play against St. Edwards, and it led to him getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. But to be able to make the free throw in a pressure situation, and just so everybody knows, I did ask him to miss the second free throw. It wasn't the pressure. It was we called a timeout and said, hey, look, if you make it, they're going to be able to throw the ball inbounds maybe to half court and have a better looking shot. So we're going to have you miss the free throw, so they have to throw it from 94 feet. And so anyway, they kind of looked at me crazy in the huddle when we told them that's what we were going to do, but it worked out just like we planned. Absolutely, and I think that's why you play these non-conference games, is you learn a lot about your team. You kind of find out where you're at, and you learn the positives and you learn the negatives. And we're learning both, but 100%, I think one of the biggest positives is that we faced some adversity, and we've played some road games, and we've played some good in-region opponents, and we found a way to win. And it's come, game-winning shots, a game-winning free throw, some, coming from 4 or 5 behind late in the game to take the lead. We used a press to take the lead against St. Ed's. I mean, we've done it in a variety of ways that the guys have bought in, and they got the job done. So you got to be proud of their resolve and how they found a way to win the game. Well, as coaches, it's always cliche. We said it about a month ago when the preseason polls came out that preseason polls really don't matter. But at the end of the day, they were picked number one in the conference standings, preseason polls. So that obviously says everybody in the league respects their talent, respects who they are, knows they've recruited well, and knows what they do. So, and we're no different. I mean, we have a lot of respect for them. I know, like right now, they just played their first 2 conference games on the road. They're 0-2. But they're a very good basketball team. Nelson Haggerty, in my opinion, is one of the best coaches in all Division II. And it's a very, very tough place to play. I think we've, won once there in the last 3 or 4 years. And so, we're going to have to go knowing how tough it's going to be, how physical just different physical than what we've played up to this point. You know, they're a very physical basketball team. That won't change. I don't think they're shooting the ball as well as they did last year, per se. Hopefully our defense can keep them to cold shooting numbers on Thursday. But they're going to be very competitive, well-coached, and a very tough physical team. We would be ecstatic if we could start off, anytime you look at the schedule and you see that you got to open up on the road, it's not the best feeling in the world. You know that how tough it is to win on the road in this league. But if you can go and not only win the first one on the road, but win the opening one and be 1-0, I think that's huge for our confidence. That would be great for this team, and it would be great leading into us going, finishing the semester and then going to Las Vegas.
Sunday, at church, it was just sitting there and like, this is really happening. I've got a lot of work to do. We got to get ready to go, and travel plans. I spent the whole day after that in the office just preparing, just to get ready to go, because it's a lot of stuff you have to do. But I'll gladly do it. But Saturday night was it just flew by. And staff and I and my wife, we went out to dinner, and we're happy, and excited about it. And then we started thinking about what's next, and it didn't take very long to think about it. But really it wasn't until Sunday morning we're like, man, we're going to get on a plane Tuesday, and we're going to go compete for a national championship. It's just something that, we've talked about for a long time here. This is my 9th season, and we've talked about it since day one, that's the goal, to get to Elite Eight and give ourselves a chance. But the next thing that I did once that realization came over me is I sent my team a text. I'm like, listen, if you're in the just happy to be here mode, you don't get on that plane, because we're going there to win, and that's our goal. We're not going there to be happy that we made it, because that would be such a waste of a talented team. That they'll be used to the cold. Chris Green does a great job as their head coach. I've known him for a while, and he prepares them every year. They're very talented, a really physical team. They play a great style of volleyball. I think there's probably 6 or 7 teams in this bracket that legitimately could say that they have a real good shot, and they're one of them, and so are we. And I expect a tough match, just like the 2 that we played this week. And I know that they won't be in the happy to be here mode either, so it's going to be tough. I think 3 of the first 4 matches will be just nail biters down to the wire. So it should be good matchup for both of us. Yeah, and we have a bunch of players that do that. Brisa Tello, she's as consistent as anybody right now. She's, an All-American candidate. I think she's got a great chance at that. You have a freshman setter who's not playing like a freshman. That's a big thing. Tons of assists, per set, and our team hitting percentage is as high as it's been in a long time. We've got a freshman middle and a junior middle who just are hard workers and make things work for us on the team. And then you got our libero, Dave. She is a playmaker. She makes things happen on the court. And of course, Abby on the right side, she handles the load. When everybody thinks the ball is going to Mallory or Bree, she comes up with some clutch kills for us. So it's been a group effort, and our commitment to a we mentality versus a me mentality has been everything it's needed to be. If you see our Twitter posts, everything says we, not me, and we believe it. It's not about who gets the recognition. It's we want something bigger. And when a team is performing like that and they have that mentality, great things can happen. I'm sure they'll be nervous. I'm sure they'll have those butterflies, but that's a good thing. That means it matters. That means that you care a lot about what's about to happen. And I think once we, all those teams, there's a lot of teams that haven't been there before this year. A couple that have, but they're going to feel that too. And so we're going to have to battle that for sure. We're going to have to talk about it, make sure we're prepared for it. But that's exciting. I think they're ready for it. We've competed at the highest stage all year long. The first weekend, second weekend, we go to the Premier Challenge, which is basically a mini Final Four, Elite Eight scenario. You got the best teams in the country there, and to go 3-1 in that tournament says we have a chance to do anything, anything great. So I think we'll adjust to it. I think it'll be a challenge, the first few points, but I think once that ball is served, I think it's game on. I think we'll be ready to compete. Well, the first thing you have to understand about me is that I am not a hugger, okay? That's just not my personality. My wife tortures me with it all the time. She knows. Well, I got the biggest, longest hug from Kathleen, ever. And it was heartfelt. And I said, you're a huge part of this, and, this is for you. And obviously it's a big year for her. She's being inducted in the AVCA Hall of Fame this year for all the things that she's done in the volleyball world, not just here at Angelo State. And, she's a pioneer, for women's athletic rights, basically, going from way back. And it was just a great moment for me, because she's the person that hired me. She was the athletic director at the time. She took a shot on someone with no head coaching experience at the college level, and I'll be forever grateful for her for that. And she knows that, and we've talked about that in the past. But I know she was excited as anybody, like all weekend. She couldn't wait to come for this tournament. She missed it last year, and she told me there's no way I'm going to miss it this year. And so she was sitting right outside here for all of our matches, and one of the first people I talked to afterwards. So it was pretty cool.
Well, depth is the biggest thing. We've really got some kids coming off our bench that are playing extremely well. And when we ended the season last year, one of the biggest things we knew we had to do was kind of in the simplest form, go get more players. And what I mean by that is a deeper bench. And we were excited that we were able to sign some kids that we were able to sign in the spring, because we knew that we would be much deeper. And going into the NCAA tournament last year, that's one of the things that we felt held us back to make a deeper run, was that depth coming off our bench. So we've been real excited about how that's been going so far. Well, I feel like we have a special team anyway, but coaches are always, we sit around and we're worried all the time about every little bitty thing. So, but I do think talent-wise we have a special group. I do think that. It remains to be seen if we'll do something special, if we'll accomplish something special, but in terms of having the talent to do something, to make a deep run in the tournament, so on and so forth, we definitely have that. So, our team is as talented as probably we've ever been. And that's great, but sometimes talent doesn't equate to the things you want it to. So still huge question marks ahead for our team, but I do like the way that we're playing right now. Well, definitely defensively, we've got to get better in all phases of defense, playing ball screens better, the different ways that we guard them, the rotation. Our first line of defense is pretty good, but our second and third rotations are way late right now. So that usually is the case in December. So our rotation work's got to get a lot better. It's something that I harp on every single day in practice, so we're hoping that we improve. And then offensive execution is we're scoring a lot of points right now, and that's great, but I think it's more due to our talent level than our executing what we really need to be doing. So like I said, I sound like a broken record. I'm excited about where we are, but I'm probably more excited about where we can be if we keep doing what we're doing. Well, I always say the same thing over and over, because I just think that when you go on the road in the Lone Star Conference, the records go out the window. I think everybody's pretty good. Everybody's especially better on their home floor. Midwestern in particular is quite a bit better on their home floor than when they're away. I've been in LSC for a long time, and I've never once had an easy game in Wichita Falls. It's always been tough. It's going to be tough again on Thursday night, and we'll see what happens. But just an old-fashioned LSC battle again.